Texas. Are you all here today? Want to test the mics while we're up here?
Yeah, here, ready to go.
Hi.
Yes,
I do well.
Hey.
Hey, Whitney. Hey, Jake. Hey, Stacy. Dave. Well, if you'd like to take it away, the stage is yours. All right, everybody, enjoy the show.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Great.
Good morning.
So, can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Absolutely.
All right. So thank you all for coming. Today, iConversation, I will be moderating this section. And I hope everybody will find value here. Either you are a new realtor or you are a seasoned, realtor, or you are in between. We hope you can really find value from here. So my name is Wale Lawal. I am an ICON agent. I've been ICON for 3 years, and I've been with EXP for 3 years. I actually moved from a 100% brokerage to EXP because I saw the opportunity here to build passive income. So, which I'm not still doing very well because it's always a struggle between production and and attraction. So I'm sure maybe some Icon will be able to mention that as well. So today we'll be discussing a lot of topics that we believe will help people. So I'm based in Houston, Texas, and I do a lot of my business in Houston. So I'm also an investor as well. So I help people to make smart financial decisions, buying real estate for investment purpose. So that being said, I will let the other panelists introduce themselves. David, introduce yourself and what market you're in, what is your business focus, and we can open the topic. Go ahead.
Thanks, Wally. So my name is Dave Cadoon. I'm based in Lloydminster, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, the provinces up in Canada. My city straddles literally between the two provinces, so I'm licensed in both and deal with agents or clients on both sides in about an hour and a half radius from here. Primarily, I do residential real estate, but I am licensed in commercial and agricultural. I do deal with those as well, currently dealing with a couple of big commercial properties. And pre-construction is something I started dabbling into in 2023, and just before this meeting signed the deal for 16 pre-construction units. So look forward to sharing how my journey has been through real estate.
All right. What about you, Jake?
Well, I think we're all excited to hear how Dave lined up those pre-construction deals. My name's Jake. I have been in real estate the last 2 years, and I actually just completed pretty much my first year with EXP, and I was really proud to be an ICON agent coming up on 2 years in October. In terms of volume, I think you're asking for forecast. Looking to do about $40-50 million this year in primarily residential real estate sales. And a lot of that has just come from a background in marketing and background in really thinking about what it looks like to acquire customers and then how to make sure you use technology to fulfill. I'll also say it's pretty fun. I'm feeling a little bit nervous in front of a digital auditorium, but awesome stuff.
Great. Thank you for that. That's an impressive number. 40 million to 50 million before the end of the year. Whew. That's good. Is this like going to be your personal volume or team volume?
Personal volume, yeah. So last year, not counting the pre-construction deals, I did a little over 20 million, and that was my first year in real estate and first year with EXP, and then that put me in the top 50. So we can go validate those numbers.
Oh, nice. Okay, good. Are you based in Ontario or where are you based at?
Yeah, based out of Ontario, Southern Ontario, so in the Hamilton area, but now we're south of Toronto. Nice.
All right, Stacy, how are you?
Good morning, everybody. I don't know if I want to follow Jake. I've been in real estate for 27 years. I like to say I started my career in the 1900s. I do about 58 units a year. I am a single agent. My husband is a partner with me, but he does our agent attraction. We do mostly residential, do a lot of new construction here in the Columbus area.
Are you there?
Hey, Wally, could you hear me?
I can hear you now. You do a lot of new construction in Columbus area. That was the last thing I heard.
Yes. Yeah, that's about when I was done. So I am.
Oh,
I'm
you were
ready.
done. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Whitney, go ahead. Whitney, go ahead. Whitney, are you there?
Yeah. So my name's Whitney McNair. I sell real estate in Oklahoma City. I've been an ICON agent for 5 years. My target markets here are primarily military. I'm also the military spouse for active duty passive income. That's a huge military investment organization. And I teach their classes for Oklahoma City for military investors. Aside from that, I spend, part of my time in real estate development and investing, multifamily syndication. So I'm really heavy on the investment side, and that's kind of what I help home buyers with as well.
Nice. So you want to tell us your volume last year, 2022?
Yeah, so my volume for 2022 was 13 million.
Nice. Good. I mean, Jake, it looks like we need to come and get some training from you. Yeah, my volume for 2022 was I think 18.3. Also, my market is not very expensive. This is Houston. Average price point is around $300,000, and we have a lot of agents, so it's extremely competitive here. But I have a goal of $40 million before the end of this year, and I'm still a little bit far away, but I'm catching up. So, and that will take me to my number one questions. Everybody, if you have a question, please drop it in the chat. I will be picking them up randomly and make sure we answer them. But the first one I have is, this room, I know is full of different experience level. If you're a new agent, if you don't mind, if you're a new agent, can you just type one? Let me see what is the mix of new agent we have here. Just type one if you're new. One, okay. Let's see. Type one. Let me see how many of us are kind of new. Okay. Oh, we have quite a amount. Okay. Just type one. Okay. It looks like we have a lot of new agent. Continue to drop that one if you're new. So, as a new agent, I know there's a lot of questions always running in the minds of everybody. But even as an icon, we have our struggle, right? So I would just like to put icons, on the spot by telling us right now, what is your current struggle? What is your number one challenge in your business right now as an icon? I will start with myself, and we go from Whitney and to Stacy, from Stacy to Jake, from Jake to Dave. So for me right now is able to do a consistent follow-up with my database has been a struggle. You see, at the beginning, we want that database to be full of contacts. Then when you achieve that, now you create a new problem. How do you consistently follow up with them? Because the worst thing that we don't like to happen is that, hey, somebody in your database actually, purchase or sell a property with somebody else. That is always something we don't like, but it does happen if you cannot consistently follow up with the people in your database. So that is my own struggle right now, trying to consistently follow up with my database. So yeah, that's it. So Whitney, why don't you take it from there? Whitney, go ahead.
Sure, absolutely. So, some of the struggles that we're having are, of course, are misinformation, about different loan types and things like that. So we're really trying to put out a lot of content right now. Also, the lead flow has been more of a challenge. And so what I've been working on is really, honing in on the database, because if you need to sell a house tomorrow, that's the best place to go. So, the way I like to have my database set up is that when I log in every morning, I know exactly who I need to call or text, that day. And so I definitely want to make sure that I'm communicating with my sphere of influence and that I've identified my, top 30 people who refer me and treat them really well. And I also want to make sure that, I'm setting up reminders in the database of who to contact and when, so that I don't have to think about that. I can just log in, and then that way, when I have that time blocked out, I can know who to contact. So I've been working on that, and then really, I like to have about 8 touches before I, set buyers or sellers up on a drip. And so, you don't want to send something that looks the same because your clients are not the same. And so we've really been working on that as well.
All right. What about you, Stacy?
So I would say our current challenge is actually our market. This is the 3rd market shift that we've been in, so definitely not new for us, but Columbus was one of those very, very hot markets where in 20 and 21, we've seen over the board for those 2 years, like a 21% appreciation rate, which is outrageous and unheard of almost. So now that our market in 22 started calming down a little bit, the conversations that we're having to have with buyers and sellers have totally changed, especially more so sellers, because they may have seen their neighbor sell last year for some astronomical number that is now not realistic, and they probably had 15 offers in the first 24 hours. So we're changing I would say just our challenges are obviously mindset, talking to our sellers, which we do before we ever even list a property. When you're in a shifting market, getting a CMA and getting a number is not always mathematical and very calculated, because literally the comps that we might pull from 30, 60, 90 days ago are different by the time we list in a couple of weeks. So those conversations are totally different. When we go in to talk to our sellers, we are setting them up that, listen, this is what we're seeing with the data. This is the range that we're coming up with. But we need to make sure that we listen to the market. If we do 2 grand openings, which is what we call our open houses, if we do 2 grand openings and we don't get offers or we don't have the traffic that we want, the market is speaking to us, and we need to make sure that we're quick to adjust because of our shifting market. And then obviously with the buyers, those conversations have changed. Even though the sellers are not getting those astronomical numbers, it's still a very competitive market. So we're talking to buyers to see if FHA can go conventional, if there's any other options out there, 100% financing. We're having to explain what appraisal gaps are, maybe taking the house as is. So these are all newer conversations for our market shift. So that's probably our challenge right now, is just making sure we're educating our buyers and sellers for what's coming.
Sounds good. All right, Jake, what is your number one? I know you crushed it in 2022. What is your number one challenge in your business right now?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing we're trying to figure out over here is I've got a small team that I'm starting to build with an executive administrator. I made the decision to hire a full-time media guy. So this guy follows me around. We're doing a bunch of listing videos, but also like local giveaways, blogs, like really trying to lean in on media. And then also hired and just let go of an ISA. And then I have one agent that I've slowly been bringing on. And I think the biggest challenge is just looking for mentors. You want to have mentors, I think, at every stage of your business. And I'm trying to find someone that I think is the right model for what I'm looking to do, which is be, at this point, I think, really profitable, boutique, small, single agent business, and then probably scale a little bit more through the world of online marketing, going, hey, if you're an agent and you're looking to grow your business like I did in the first year, and you're looking to grow it and understand like best marketing practices, best way to set up your CRM, automate, understand your task leads, all that stuff, like here's an online course, online training, and then probably give it away for free at large to people that are looking to like join EXP through the downline. So I think that's an interesting opportunity, and I'll probably pursue that over continuing to just build a really big team. I think that's the big challenge I'm having right now, just clear direction with like who's the right person to lean into. So I would encourage all of you guys listening, and we can see you all, by the way. So I'm looking forward to seeing some raised hands and conversation. But I think the biggest thing that I would encourage everybody to do is definitely have the whole running mate situation, someone you're chasing after who's like your mentor, someone that you can look to that can teach you what the journey ahead looks like, someone you're running alongside whose business is about your size so you can learn from each other's mistakes and grow together, and then someone that you're giving advice to as you're kind of coming up. So biggest challenge, definitely having that next person that's kind of the mentor of where I'm looking to go.
Great. And I think you drop a lot of tips right there from your response. It's always a struggle, I'm, trying to build a small team as well. I have about four members in my team. It's a constant battle trying to keep everybody happy and still running a profitable business. So it is a constant battle for everybody, to be honest. So even the bigger teams, I still hear all of them, complain left and right as well. So, but you're gonna get there. I think you're saying the right thing. Picking the right person is the main thing. You're never gonna attract everybody. You just have to attract people that are really, really hungry to grow with you and see the value you bring to them even before you set up a meeting to talk to them. So, yeah, great, my friend. I just gave you a follow on Instagram, by the way. So,
oh, sweet.
All right, Dave, let's go. Alberta.
Yeah, absolutely. So it kind of goes along the lines of what Jake mentioned in regards to growth and such. I'm part of a domestic team, so it's my wife and myself, and she handles a lot of the stuff at the back end here in the office, and I'm out on the forefront dealing with the clients and building the business. 62 closings there last year, just as a sole agent. It keeps things busy. And then, like I mentioned, just signing a new developer here just before this meeting, that definitely goes a long way. Being ahead of everybody else and wanting to stay ahead. So I am in a smaller market. My city's 35,000 people. Currently I was holding 52 listings. I'm down to 40 now as things have been selling. So that keeps things busy and being on top of things and needing help, always needing help. I've been unable to grow my team locally, and that's because it is a smaller market. Everyone kind of wants to handle things on their own. I hold 12% of the listings in our market, and that generates consistent business. People keep calling because they keep seeing the signs. I'm trying to be on the forefront in social media. People know where I am, what I'm doing. And that again keeps business growing. I set my sights to grow even bigger in other markets, and working with a company to grow that with the brand as well. But never stopping to look back to see what we're doing and where we're going. David, just say your comment there. No assistants. I do have 2 virtual assistants. They handle some of the marketing, and then I've just partnered with another company that is going to be doing more for marketing for me. And again, I always need to stay ahead of everybody else. I'm not looking back. I'm going to continue to grow. I'll be hitting Icon here again in July. So that'll be it took 4.5 months to hit Icon again. And that's kind of where the growth goes and the goals. You just got to set goals and keep going. Challenges, I love challenges. And you set a goal, beat those challenges.
Nice. So what is your number one challenge? Like if you have to say one thing, this is what you are struggling with in your business right now. Or
that would be growth. Keeping up with the growth.
So growing pains, pretty much. The pains that come along with growing. Okay, great. So the audience, please put your questions here. We're going to answer those. If you have any preference on anybody that you want specifically, hey, I want this question to be answered by Jake. I want this question to be answered by Dave. Just mention that there so that way they can answer your question. So now, for new agents, right, Dave, you're a veteran here, and Jake, you also, relatively new, but that's a tremendous result, just been in the business for 2 years. What is your advice for a new agent looking for their first deal and been facing a lot of rejection? They keep hosting open houses, but they still don't get anybody that want to work with them. So, Jake, since you are new, you just passed that phase like last year or so. What will you say to that new agent struggling to get their number one deal closed or number one client? What will you tell them?
Awesome. So here's my thoughts around getting your first deals going. Is number one, I mean, there's a couple ways to approach it, but the very first thing I would do is really heavily think about your appearance. I know that might sound like a weird first thing to focus on. And by appearance, I mean like go have a nice suit, have a nice dress, have a nice like whatever you're wearing to make yourself look like $1,000,000. Start there, look fantastic, go out, get photos done, and think about your social presence. Like so much of what's going to happen in today's market is going to stem from your initial relationships with your sphere. And I'm sure you all hear this a lot, but like what I did within my first 60 days was, number one, really thought about the presentation, made sure I set up a Google My Business online, which if you don't know how to do that, just go to YouTube, set that up so that you appear in Google searches when people start looking for realtors nearby. And then you reach out to your friends, ask them to write referrals for you, and don't say anything that's not true. So say to them like, hey, talk about me being a high quality person, a reliable person, a trustworthy person. And then that way, when you are looking to get clients and they look you up and they see you're a real human that other people can vouch for, it's going to give you a little bit of credibility when the truth is you don't have any credibility yet. So it's a good way to borrow credibility from your relationships. And then what I did was I did a little bit of everything. My background's marketing, so I definitely leaned in on pay-per-click advertising. I did some of these different things. My recommendation, though, is really simple. It would be every single day you want to have 20 conversations. That's the action that you're going to take that's going to lead you to the result, which is you're trying to get a deal. You're trying to find a buyer or a seller or someone you can work with. So I would 100%, I would call everybody in my sphere. I'd download your phone, put it into your CRM, or just start calling people on your phone and use like a typical, just talk about them, just catch up on life. And at some point they're going to ask you what you're up to. And you can just mention you're in real estate. You don't got to be salesy. You don't got to do anything other than just like actually reach out to people you care about. And then the other thing I would do is go door knock, because like everybody on this panel will attest, we're all running marketing of some kind, paid marketing. It's very expensive to run paid advertising. And when you realize that I can walk down a street for free and start knocking on doors, that'll open tons of opportunity for you. It's a bit of a long answer, but there's a few pieces to getting your first deal. I don't want you to think there's a silver bullet. Like you gotta kind of craft a few things in place first and then go out and just make phone calls, knock on doors.
That was great. Great. And knocking door is free. But it's a lot of hard work. So, all right, Dave, what do you have for a new agent struggling to get their number one? Because you just signed a new deal with a developer, right? And you did 40 listings last year without an assistant. So, you said you have a virtual assistant, by the way. So what would you tell that new agent as a veteran in the game? Go ahead.
Be yourself. So where I can, relate with Jake, there's some things that are also different. He talks about the suit and everything like that. That's not who I am. As you see me on stage, I've got a golf shirt on, I've got shorts, I got flip flops. That's really what I'm looking like right now. I am myself. I show people who I am, and I get the job done. You're going to relate to different clients, and as people understand who you are, they're going to like you no matter what you look like. One of the biggest things I've gone with in regards to my business, and that came from a mentor, was people hate being sold. They love shopping with friends. So if they get to know you through social media, I'm big on sharing what my life is like on social media. I associate with people at the hockey rink, doing things such that, just as long as they can relate. Open houses, I hate them, can't stand them, but I do them, and I still do them. It's a chance for you to meet people. It's marketing. It leads up to people seeing that there is an open house. Maybe they don't come to the open house, but they see you, they see what you're doing and how hard that you are working. If you don't have listings, do open houses for other agents. That's how I got into the business when I started. When I started twice, I had 2 startovers, and it was basically, hey, you have a listing, I can do open houses, and I would do them. I would get out there. I did door knocking. I hate it too, but it gets people to know who you are. Jake highlighted on paid advertising. Yeah, I bet you everyone on the stage does some sort of paid advertising. I do it too. But I find organic is a great way to get people to understand, again, who you are and that you are out there. You don't swamp them with stuff, and you don't throw up all over them with it. But as long as they get to see you, it will take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but just get out there, pound the pavement, and let people know who you are.
Sounds good. So I'm going to switch the question a little bit for Stacy and Whitney. So now you guys are very successful. That's why you're Icon, right? What is the number 2 common mistakes that you see new agents make in their first 90 days of getting their license? What is that 2 mistake that you see that you keep seeing new agents keep making over and over again? Stacy, I'll start from you.
Probably the first thing is quitting their day job. We are not a fan of that whatsoever. If they come to us, we have personally on our team 153 in our downline. All of them we're very, very active with. And if they have a day job, we tell them absolutely not. Don't quit the day job. So that's probably the number 1 mistake that I see. Probably number 2 is and we talk about social media. If you're just pouring out all this stuff about social media, we always talk about the triangle of trust when we meet with them. Your friends, your sphere, your past coworkers, your family, they know and they like you and they trust you, but they probably don't trust you in real estate just yet because you're brand new. So we watch and monitor a lot of our newer agents' social medias, and when they're just dumping a bunch of real estate stuff out there that might be even mimicking other agents' stuff and not really talking real and being, like kind of Dave said, being themselves, maybe even talking about the fact that they are a new agent, but we tell them to lean on their team, their upline, the team's years of success and business and stuff like that. And we help them on a one-on-one too. So I would say don't go into anything alone without going in with a mentor, a listing appointment, a buyer appointment, maybe even with your social media posts. How can I structure this? Don't do it alone. Rely heavily on your upline.
Nice. Whitney, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think a big mistake is not finding a mentor. As an agent that's very, very listing, heavy, I get to see firsthand, some of the mistakes from buyers agents just by the questions they're asking me. When they call. And a lot of common mistakes are not, not reading instructions, even on the listing. The paperwork isn't filled out correctly usually. And I get a lot of questions, had an agent looked up the statistics in their market, they would have maybe been able to answer those, themselves. So those are probably the most common mistakes I see. When I first got in the business, I would actually sit in the living room with my husband and present him a listing presentation like he was a seller, or explain an offer to him like he was a buyer. And so that's really how I got to know the forms, because I could go back and explain, it to someone who I felt comfortable with and not be embarrassed. But definitely not knowing what's going on in the market is a huge mistake I see, because, the top agents know the streets, they know the neighborhoods, they know how many houses are for sale, they know, how many buyers are looking in an area, they know who the developers are. There's so many details that the top agents know. And so, if you're first starting out and you don't learn that, there's such a huge gap.
Nice. Well, before I take it over to Jake and Dave, I'm going to add my 2 cents. And the most common mistake I see new real estate agents make all the time is that they are coming into the industry with a false expectation. You see, guys, the HGTV, $1 million listing, selling Tampa, all those are, they're good. Just like flipping houses online too. Those are good, but those are just those are the fancy things they are showing you. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that real estate agent has to do that they don't really tell you until you get your license. So I think the TV is not really helping us. So people are coming into the industry thinking they're going to crush it in their first 30 days or in their first 6 months. Of course, you can be like Jake, but if you also listen to Jake, Jake has a sales background. He was just not coming from, a corporate without any kind of sales background and selling, $40 million in his first year. That's not going to happen. If it happened, then there is something that has led you to that success. So that's number one. Coming into the industry with false expectation that they're going to make a lot of money within their first 30 days. And also piggyback on that one, they are relying on their family members, their uncle, that they're going to buy real estate from them. And surprisingly, some of them will still not patronize you because you are new and they are buying a property of, several thousands of dollars or maybe millions. They don't want to trust you that you're new. They like you as a person, like Stacy mentioned, but this is a big investment for them and they want somebody that is competent to handle that for them. So that's number one. The number two is that they are skipping the training. And also, maybe they are even rushing it. They are skipping the training. They don't want to just take time to learn. They are chasing the dollar. They think, oh, they told me I can make a lot of money in real estate. That's how I got my license. You will make the money if you take the time to learn the trade. If you take the time to learn your tools. If you take the time to study yourself and know what kind of clients you even want to attract, and what is your strategy. And again, target it on to what they call, what is your value proposition? What do you bring to the table? What kind of people do you want to work with? What kind of people you don't want to work with? Because you also have to define that. So those are my own two. Number one is that they are coming in with the false expectation that they're going to crush it in their first 90 days. Number two is that they are not completing the training or even skipping the training total and just want to go run after, how do I get a lead? How do I get this? How do I get that? Without doing the proper training. So I will let you take it over, Jake. What is your two things you see new real estate agent continue to make over and over again? Because I'm sure they are calling you a lot, right? They are blowing up your phone, right?
You're saying what's the first mistake that I see them make?
What is the top two mistakes you see them making all the time?
Yeah, I haven't given too much thought to the top two mistakes. I think that it's like, here's the mistake that I've made when trying to hire, and I think it's probably the mistake that people make when they're trying to build their business, is when I've been looking to hire my first administrator, I kind of just looked around at my sphere and I would like one by one send out messages, and I was thinking I'm going to probably find an administrator just through someone that I know, because I've heard that that's happened for other people. I've seen it happen for other people. And then I realized, man, if I want to find a great administrator, I probably need to treat it the same way I treat sales, which is like have different avenues through which I'm going to try and find clients. So it led me to realize, oh, I can actually work with a recruiter, and a recruiter is going to help me write a job posting, and that's going to attract people. And I share this to say that I think a lot of agents make the same mistake I made when I was hiring, which is they'll just kind of be like looking at their sphere, praying and thinking, if I just keep kind of like, connecting with my sphere, maybe someone's going to be ready. And I would say the number one thing you can do is just always have the mentality of like, get more balls in the air, create more opportunities. Don't just chase the same 10 people around all the time. Like constantly be trying to add people to your database, like connecting with people, getting phone numbers. So I think that the biggest mistake in general would just be thinking too small and realizing you should probably go outside and like door knock and go meet people and connect with people. And then the maybe second biggest mistake is like never burn a bridge. Everybody's a potential client. Every single person is even current clients, or if a client turns you down or whatever, just like always be the person that you think you should be from a level of respecting other people and providing value. And you'll be amazed at how many of those people will come back around at some point in the future or end up hiring you because you're just like a stellar person.
Nice. Dave, go ahead.
So one of the mistakes that I see new agents or agents to newer markets make is not being consistent. You have to be consistent, whether it's be social media marketing. Can't just decide I'm going to go work 2 hours today and then wait for someone to call. Like one comment or question in the chat was, how much do I work? Well, I work, sometimes 60, even 70 hours a week. It all depends on what I've got going, but the consistency is there. I tell people I start work 7 a.m. every morning. Sometimes I'm working until 11 o'clock at night, depending how things go, but I'm there every morning at 7 a.m. So stay consistent and keep things going. The other thing would be going with that is have a schedule. You have to have a schedule for your day. What is your day going to be looking like? What is your week going to be looking like? On Sunday, you should have your week planned out, how it's going to be. Stuff is going to pop into that week as you get busier, but have something set. So let's just use, for example, every day for 2 hours, you're going to be doing sphere influence. You're going to be making those calls like Jake mentioned earlier. You're going to call people. Then for another 2 hours during the day, you're going to work on your social media. Another couple hours, maybe on Wednesday, you're going to go door knock a certain neighborhood. Just be consistent and set your goals. The work will come, but you definitely have to put the work in for yourself.
Great. And I will piggyback on that one, which is a very related question. This is a very common question I hear from new agents. What is your number one lead generation strategy or source? It could be, source or a strategy that, hey, this is my number one that has worked for you over and over again. So we'll start from Jake, because you just crushed it, right? So tell us, what is your number one strategy? Where are those leads coming from?
Awesome. So I can really quickly, I'll just pull this up on my end, which is just looking at where people actually come from in my little house chart thing that I've got. I believe the biggest is it's actually really spread out. So last year, for example, my sphere was about 15% of my business. Referrals were about 13%. And those referrals that came in were like people from my sphere recommending me to somebody else. Door knocking was the same size as referrals for me. It was 13% of my business, which, just to give you guys an idea, that's something like 5 of my deals came from door knocking, 5 came from referrals, 6 were from my sphere, 4 were from Google PPC, 4 was from YouTube, 5 was from open houses. So it gives you kind of a quick idea of how spread out it is across all these different ways of marketing. So open houses are huge, door knocking's huge, your sphere are probably the biggest group.
Nice. All right. What about you, Stacy? Go ahead.
So I think it's important to point out that what Jake is saying, especially in this time when the market's shifting a little bit, you have to have so many avenues going. So that's great, Jake, that you pointed out all those different places that was coming from. Ours is also sphere, repeat and referral, but we do put money behind that via social media. We do a lot of Instagram and Facebook marketing. We also do, I should say we hire someone to do our SEO, because we do Google placement and pay-per-clicks and stuff like that. Definitely diversifying yourself is the biggest thing right now, and working every avenue that you can. Open houses are great. And if you don't have a listing in our area, and everybody needs to check their areas because every state and every brokerage is a little bit different. But if you can actually use your KV Core, which for our newer agents, if you don't have that set up, definitely set it up. And then take the KV Core Quick Start training. It's about an hour and a half of work, but I tell our people, have 2 computers set up, or you can toggle back and forth, pause it, and do what it's telling you to do to set up your KV Core. Because then you can go to someone in your office and say, hey, I see you have this great new listing. Is it okay if I do a KV Core boost for it this weekend? Just so you know, KV Core boost for like 7 days is $60. For 3 days, it's $45. You will get leads off of it that come into your KV Core system. So become a KV Core master and start doing and utilizing the systems in it, and you'll have leads. So, and we even use that as a team. We actually, we don't personally have a team, but we did invest in the KV Core teams. Because of our downline, anything that I don't want, I can actually assign them that lead in the KV Core system. So, yep, that's our biggest sphere, where we pull ours, a sphere, and then putting money behind it.
Nice. So, Dave, how did you get that developer? What is your number one lead generation strategy? Go ahead.
Just presence, being present. So let's use that developer, for example. They reached out to me in November of last year, and they've been represented by another brokerage. And the developer said, hey, we'd like to have a sit down. So went and we chatted, and we had one meeting, and they said, we would like to have you list one new build for us in this new neighborhood. We see what you can do on social media. We want you to represent us there, and we'll see where it goes from there. I said, absolutely. So in January, we had the new build listed for pre-construction. In February, we had number 2 listed. In March, we had number 3. In April, we had number 5. And as of this morning, we just signed another 16. It all became on presence. I showed them what I could do, what the others weren't. And they appreciated the work that I'm putting into it. Again, goes back to the regimented, the scheduling, and how to grow your business.
Great. But now, some of this, Stacey, you mentioned that you should do everything. The new agent don't have the capital. They don't have the budget. What is that free? I know door knocking, cold calling, your sphere and all those things. Is there any in-between kind of thing, lead generation strategy they can implement while they don't have to spend too much, but they can still get results like a rock star icon agent?
Absolutely. And keep in mind when I talk about like the KV core and stuff like that, when you're boosting that's putting a little bit of an oomph behind it, but you can actually still build those. Find an area that you want to work, that you want to target, a farming area, let's say. Find a great listing in there, ask permission. In our area, it has to be an EXP listing. You can still build, and it'll teach you in that KV Core Quick Start, these squeeze pages for that. And then you just have to manually post it, put it in the selling walls for the, in our, like my local area is called New Albany. So I go into all the New Albany social media pages, the selling pages, the mom pages, the this pages. I've become a member of all of them. And that squeeze page that literally takes like 15 seconds to create for that actual listing that you want to try to target and find buyers for, takes 15 seconds to create, and then you just go ahead and yourself cut and paste. So that is absolutely free. Obviously, once it starts rolling, you can put a little bit of money behind it. And I did put in the chat box, if you guys want to look up, and a lot of you might know her, she's a superstar, but Candace Neff, she is working on her second icon. She was a brand new agent with us, and she decided to focus on this, and she did one new build ad that she posted. She's put $150 a month behind it in Facebook and did $8 million her first full year as an agent with EXP. She's now an icon. I think she's in year 3. So it's there. You just got to work it.
I like that. Thank you. Jake, what is the free lead source? I know you kind of touched a little bit. What is that lead free way? I mean, you're also coming from a marketing background. A new agent can implement today and start seeing results.
Yeah, I've said this a couple times, and I'll just reiterate it, is like, definitely go out and knock on doors. It's scary. And Dave joked about this earlier, and I fully agree, which is like, we all kind of hate it. So even last night, I was like, oh man, I don't want to go do it, but the weather here in Ontario is finally beautiful for us Canadians. And I was like, okay, I just got to get out there and get it done. And put my suit on, stepped outside, looked like $1 million, didn't feel like $1 million yet, started knocking on doors, and about 5 doors in, I'm having amazing conversations. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So it's free. And you can go knock on doors in the neighborhoods of the kind of homes you want to sell. It's like actually unbelievable that you're just for free allowed to go do that. And then the other thing is like, man, just pick up the phone, call people that you know, just keep top of mind. People forget that you exist, and it's not their job to remember you. So you got to be out there in front of them.
Great. All right. Well, thank you guys. So I will switch the gear a little bit to agent attraction. I know that is one of the reasons why, a lot of us join EXP. But as an icon agent, we are busy producing, right? How do you guys balance production with attraction? For me, it's a struggle for me. I'm heavily focusing on production, but I see that my attraction, is not doing well. So what is the balance? Let's start from you, Stacey. Looks like you've been here for a while. So go ahead. Why are you balancing it, crushing it in production and still not leaving your revenue share to suffer? Go ahead.
Sure. One thing that we've done is we've really created in our market, we like to say we're a big, small town. How's that go? Small, big town. You know what I'm trying to say. But we do we're very interactive with our tribe is what we call it. So we're very on social media. We do a lot of get-togethers every week. Like and we tell people when they do a deal, invite your co-oping agent. And one thing that we do is we do not preach EXP, EXP, EXP. This is just agents getting together in this crazy market, talking market strategy, having, if we do happy hour, having a drink after a crazy week. We always do them on Thursdays. One of our mentors is Jay Nelson out of Nashville. A lot of people know him, and obviously out of Puerto Rico now. His average time, he tracks it, is about 9 months of talking to an agent and just getting to know them before he even tries to recruit them. And we've built that same atmosphere here. So we don't just throw up EXP on people when we meet them. We get to know them. We get to know what's important to them. We get to know their goals. We know and one question that we always lead with is, what do you love about your brokerage? If we're talking to someone, because whatever they love about their brokerage gives you an idea of what to emphasize in your area. Like, you know what I mean? If they happen to love, I absolutely love, we have the greatest, I love my broker. I love my other agents. Well, actually that means they're a social person. If they get in there and say, I love our classes, they're obviously an educational, and just make notes. We actually keep a spiral book on everybody we meet about what's important to them. And then we don't talk EXP until way down the road.
Great. That's good. What about you, Whitney? What is your strategy to attract while you're not letting your production suffer?
Sure. So I actually hopped in a accountability call for agent attraction. So, I do that, and I actually, have started working on it. I didn't when I first started. And that's a really great way to get new ideas. Also, when you're building your business, if you do like a agent to agent program, where, you're trying to get, some agents to send you some buyer or seller referrals, you can reach out on social media that way and just say, hey, I'm wanting to pass some referrals, so I'm wanting to get to know, some other agents, and you can kind of work on both, that way. So that's how I'm currently doing it. But I'm time blocking every day, and I'm reaching out to 3 agents every day. But I'm not talking about EXP really for a long time until I've built that relationship.
Nice. How many downline do you have right now?
So I have one. Like I said, I really didn't, that just wasn't my focus for, a long time.
All right. Jake, next to you.
Yeah, I'm unqualified to talk about this. I haven't focused on agent attraction at all. And if you're a new agent, like for those who mentioned they were new agents in the auditorium, spend -5 minutes thinking about agent attraction. Like, spend all of your time being an agent that's worthy of telling somebody like, hey, come over here. And I know maybe that's like, maybe some people would argue that. I just think your number one job is to be like a salesperson, to go out and do that. Worry about agent attraction down the road if you want to crush it as an agent.
That's it. How many downline do you have right now, Jake?
I actually don't even know. I haven't even looked at it. I know for sure there's one person. There might be a couple other, but definitely not qualified to talk about it yet.
Yeah. Are you guys seeing a pattern here, right? If you're doing production, it is a little bit very difficult for you to crush it. I'm yet to hear from Dave, but I'm also, I can chime into what Dave said, what Jake said, and what Stacy and Whitney said. I'm heavily on production as well. It's agent attraction. I love it, but it's just a struggle. Right now, I think I have about 6 or 7 downline with me, and this is passive. I don't actively, look for agents to join. But maybe they saw my Instagram, they saw some of my YouTube videos, they saw some of the kind of value I'm giving, then they slide in my DM, and I talk to them, and one thing led to the other. We jump on a Zoom call, and now they are with EXP. So that's the way I've been doing it. I am not an active attractor. I do want to be, because I mean, we love the passive income, but it's a different business on its own. So, like Jake said, you only have one job as a salesman. And also at the beginning for myself, you don't even have any credibility, right? I needed to be an icon. So I can show my results and tell you, hey, this is what I can do for you, because now I figured out how to sell real estate. If you join EXP, and I can be that your mentor or somebody you can always call to, help you crush it as well. Whatever you've seen online that attracts you to call me, then I can help you do the same, because I have figured it out. So that's why at the beginning, my honest advice would be focus on production, so you can have some reps, you can have some reputation, you can have some credibility, your track record, something like that, to be able to sell the prospect, to join EXP through you. So that is my strategy. I'm not even talking to anybody until I became an icon. And once I became an icon, then it's a leverage to, hey, talk to them. And they also see me, showing the awards on my Instagram, right? Showing the awards, showing what is going on. But I don't actively recruit. I will call myself a passive or one-off, attractor. But it is a goal of mine to really, really have a huge downline and all those passive income that comes from that. So, Dave, let's hear your own perspective about that. How are you balancing? If you want to tell us how many downline you have, and how are you balancing, getting the new developer and still not lacking in the attraction. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, and kind of highlight what you and Jake had just mentioned. So, when I came to EXP about a year and a half ago, I had 7 years experience, and I had been top sales in my previous brokerage. But I didn't start doing agent attraction. I told my sponsor at the time, not interested in agent attraction. I want to make sure I knew what I was doing with EXP first, and I knew the ins and outs of the business. And my goal was to hit Icon. I was determined that I was going to be hitting Icon in my first year, and no problem. So once I hit Icon, then I started to focus, okay, sales are good. I understand how EXP runs, how the model goes. Let's look at agent attraction. So I've actually partnered with my sponsor and through some other agents in my organization, and we do agent attraction, and we do things a little bit different. So quickly just jumping out of that for a second, I have two agents in my downline, and one of them sold 3 homes last year and refuses to do any of the actual work that's needed to increase their business. And the other one sold 1 home last year and was to himself, and he's a full-time agent. So the drive isn't there for either one of them, and I keep trying to provide them value in what they can do. They just don't want to go out there and work. So going back into regards to the actual agent attraction, I dedicate time every day for agent attraction. I do have an ISA that makes contact with agents across North America. But the goal for that contact is eventual agent attraction. And then how we were talking about, I think it was Stacy that had mentioned, or maybe it was Whitney, that, 9 months of speaking with people, talking with them, getting through with them that way. Yes, that's what you have to do. Take your time. Don't just throw EXP up on somebody. I had agents try to bring me into EXP years ago, and they just threw EXP up on me, drove me away. My sponsor, who I ended up going with, we formed a relationship, and it worked well in regards to how our businesses could grow. I made contact with agents in regards to referrals and social media contacts, and we go that way. And when they want to come with me, they will come. They will come when it comes time. And there are some that will be making the jump. It's just going to take time. 2 that are in my downline, they just jumped because they saw low fees and I'm going to make $1 million, but they forgot that they actually had to do the work themselves.
Great. Sounds good. So I know we are kind of experienced agent. How do you balance your the cost amount of money you spend on ads or on lead generation and your conversion? How do you measure that? How do you track that you're not just throwing spaghetti to the wall and you're hoping that something is going to stick? Now, how do you, my question is that how do you track your expenses on lead generation, and how do you see that, okay, it's actually converting, I should continue to do this or I should stop? Start from you, Jake.
Question was, just repeat that question once more.
How do you make sure you are not spending too much money on ads without conversion, or that is not working?
Yeah, so the approach that I've tried to take with ads is here's the easiest way for you guys to think about advertising really quickly is there's Google pay-per-click, which is like, someone typing in something related to city houses for sale. Okay, so like any city houses for sale. And then tracking that's really easy because I consider that very cold advertising. So you want to just track how many of those leads you get and how many on average it takes to convert. It's going to take time. So the hardest part about paid advertising is you got to definitely set aside some budget and know that it'll take time. The other advertising that I do is trying to get my face out there through, Facebook, through YouTube, whatever. And the goal there is understanding that it's going to be a long investment from the standpoint of impressions, Jake's face being out there. The last thing I would say is try to centralize your advertising like Dave's done, where you own that city. And then once you own that little pocket, you can expand. But by owning that city, you're going to get the leverage like Dave's experiencing, where everybody in the city starts to see your face. Dave actually mentioned he's got 12% of the market share, which is unreal and awesome. And then the builders and developers are going to reach out to you because you're the person. So all of that is to say, you're asking about how I track it. I track it really diligently with PPC, and then with the other advertising that's more my face and my brand, I don't care quite as much because it's a long-term thing and it's just impressions over time.
Nice. Dave, go ahead.
That's where I kind of struggle with it. I pour the money into it and look for the returns. I'll use Core Concierge for one through KV Core. I poured money into that in March of last year and had 6 conversions directly as a result of Core Concierge through KV Core within 30 days. That paid for an entire year for that program. I let that program run for an entire year as a result. And it just ended yesterday. I'm just going to take a break from it. So that's just one example. If you put the money in, you see the conversions right away, keep going with it. But don't, when you use the whole thing of throwing up of the money everywhere to try to get leads, it's got to be systematic, but you got to be consistent with it. So going, 3 months, if you're going to put out an ad, let it go for 3 months. It's going to take time. The touches are going to be needed there.
Nice. All right, Whitney, what are you doing? How are you tracking your expenses on ads or on lead generation as compared to the conversion?
Sure. So I have a spreadsheet of every lead source, and it actually, calculates my conversion rate for me. And so that's the way I track it. And then also I do, I keep profit and loss statements every month. I'm not the super techie agent, so I don't really use PPC. Those aren't really, my lead generation tools, but I did learn early on that, to find out what's working and what's not. And then, the lead, figuring out what lead generating tools work that I like.
Okay. But you do have to spend money on it before you know it works or not. Is that correct?
I do. I do spend money. I'm not super high tech, but I do, client appreciation events. I did a military spouse community paint night last week. I have home light leads. There's some other lead sources I have. So yes, I do spend money. Just yeah.
Great. All right. What about you, Stacy?
I see they're flicking the lights on us, so we're gonna wrap up quick.
Yeah, we need to wrap up. Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, wow, what is that? I do KV Core for tracking. I hashtag each individual lead source. And then I'm like, yeah, Dave, I give something 90 days, but I don't give it any longer. I never do long-term commitments. 90 days is the most I'll do, but I do track everything. If it's not working after 90 days, then it's done. We're quick to bring it on and quick to get rid of it if it's not working.
Cool, nice one. So final question, in one sentence, what are you going to do differently this year to improve your business? We'll start from you, Whitney. Whitney, what are you going to do differently this year to even improve your business?
Yeah, so mine, I have a goal of going out to lunch every week with a past client. So that's something I'm implementing.
Nice. That would be time consuming. Wow, all past client. What about you, Jake? Jake, go ahead. What are you going to do differently or improve on? Jake, are you there? All right, Dave, go ahead.
I am spending more time working with EXP events to grow my knowledge base.
Nice. Stacy, go ahead.
Dave, that's awesome. That's what I was going to say. Be at the events, the regionals, be there, plug in, invest in yourself, not monetarily as far as ads, but personal growth.
That was too fast. We didn't get that. Say that again.
Sorry, I said I agree with Dave. Events. Be at the regionals, be at EXP shareholders, and then invest in yourself, personal growth.
Great, that is good. I think we are on top of the hour. Now, everybody, if you want to connect with these icons offline, please slide in their DM. Find them on EXP. Workplace. Chat with them. And I'm sure we're always willing to help as much as we can. But when you're reaching out, make sure you're reaching out with value. Don't come and say, can I pick your brain for 2 hours? I mean, we are busy people. We do want to help, but be strategic with it. Don't just come and, bring all the problems because we are busy with our business and we also have our own struggle. The best way to do that would be to come ask people, what can you do for them, and let them tell you what they need. So, well, it's been very, very amazing. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Stacy. Stacy, I think we've exchanged a referral before. So thank you, Whitney. And hopefully we're going